2 years ago, I taught myself how to build AI automation from scratch. Today, my agency does over 80k a month in revenue, and we work with some of the largest real estate agents in the world. And what I've learned from this is building automations is never the hardest part. Getting clients is. When I started, I made the same mistake as most beginners make. I spent my first couple of months buried in the development, learning tools and testing workflows. And yes, that's important, but the fastest way to learn is by building for real clients. Development, you can always figure that out. Client acquisition is the real hurdle. It's like opening a restaurant. You can serve 5-star food, but if nobody knows your doors are open, your tables will stay empty. Then there's the pizza shop down the street. Maybe the food's just okay, but they're on every delivery app. They've got flyers in every mailbox, and they're posting every single day. Who's packed on the Friday night? It's obviously the pizza shop. That's client acquisition. It's not the best product that wins. It's the ones who people can actually see. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to get clients for your AI automation agency. Okay, so now that we know client acquisition is the biggest challenge, let's break it down into 3 core principles. So we have the first principle here, which is visibility. If people don't know you exist, they can't hire you. It's as simple as that. This is where most beginners fail. They build, they prepare, they get everything ready, but nobody knows they even exist. Think back to the restaurant example. The 5-star chef who never markets, sits in an empty restaurant every single evening, but the pizza shop with the bang average food, but great marketing, has a full house every single night. Visibility is what gets you in the door. And in an AI automation agency, visibility means showing up where your clients already spend their time, their inbox, their LinkedIn, maybe even through partnerships. The point is, if you're invisible, your skills don't matter. Now, being visible isn't just enough. That's just step number 1. The next step is building trust, giving people that answer to why should they trust you. It's like mechanics. You can find hundreds listed online, but most people don't just pick the first one they see. They go for the mechanic that a friend recommends or a family member recommends. The one that they trust will actually fix the problem. That's what trust looks like in business. Clients choose the person they believe can deliver a solution to a problem or to their specific problem. And finally, we have offer and value. They need a clear, compelling reason to say yes. Visibility will get you attention. Trust keeps them interested, but your offer is what makes them commit. I do automations is vague and forgettable. A strong offer is specific and outcome driven. Something like, we'll cut your tenant screening time in half so you can fill rentals faster. Or even, we'll automate your lead follow-up so no deals slip through the crack. So to wrap all of this up, visibility gets you seen, trust makes them believe you, and your offer is what closes them on the deal. When we master all of these 3 core principles, every single one of these client acquisition strategies that I show you later in this video will all start to click. So let's get straight into that now. Okay, so now let's get into the client acquisition channels that we use in my agency currently and ones that we've seen that kind of work. And now, obviously, these aren't the only channels, but these seem to be kind of the biggest ones or the most common ones used in most agencies in order to get clients. So now, the first one, as you can see down here, is cold email. And the reason I like cold email is because it is scalable. With tools over here like Instantly, you can send hundreds of personalized emails every day automatically, compared to something like DMs where you are restricted in most cases and most people will just send them one by one manually. So you're able to get in front of a lot of people very quickly with cold emails. You know, after just maybe on Instantly, I think it's maybe 2 weeks max where you set up an account. After you set up an account, you can start sending hundreds of emails straight away into clients' inboxes or into prospects' inboxes. It also takes, minimum effort in regards to the rest of these client acquisition channels. Very low effort for what you get out of it. And once it's set up, you put your client list in or your prospect list, write a few strong templates, and the system does all of the heavy lifting for you. So the kind of process of this would be, for a beginner, it would be going to Instantly, purchasing a domain, which is basically like for us, it's workreadyai.com. That's our website domain, but we might send emails from a domain like tryworkreadyai.com. The reason you do that is because you don't want to affect your actual domain, and because the risk you run when doing cold emails is that people throw you into spam, or people say that you're in spam, which is normal in cold emails. But when people do that, it affects the deliverability of your domain. So that's why we use aliases or different domains from our actual business domain, because we don't want to affect our business domain. Now, there is a downside to cold emails. Cold emails is a little bit of a pay to win game. Obviously, there's a charge for instantly, and then there's a charge for warming up your accounts. There's also a charge for the domain that you pay, etc. Now, the charge isn't really high, but it is kind of pay to win, because along with them charges, the real way we win in cold email is because we do it at volume. And when you do it at volume, it costs also that in volume. So the more volume you do, the more it's going to cost you. And that's why I kind of call this method a pay to win, because if you're sending like a small amount of emails, 20, 30 emails a day, you're not really going to get anywhere, because in a good instance, you might have a 3 to 4% reply rate. That would be, considered in the industry, that would be considered good. If you're sending 20 to 30 emails, it might take you 4 days just to get a reply. Now, after you get a reply, the chances you close that client drop again. It's about 10%, 5% in most cases. So that means you could send 1,000 emails and only get 5 to 6 clients. Now, if you're to send 1,000 emails manually, that can take a long time. That's why I say this is pay to win, because we send a massive amount of volume. Also costs us a lot of money, but we get a few clients from that. So it pays off in the end. Now, with actually writing these cold emails, there is also an element of creativity and mastering you have to do when you're writing the actual cold emails, because every single business owner receives at least 5 cold emails every single week. Now, the majority of these business owners that you're reaching out to, that number would actually be higher. And in these cold emails that they receive, they're annoying and pestering. I know, because I received them. So you have to go a step further and make these different. And when people think about that, they think, I'm going to go a step further, I'm going to get more creative, I'm going to say something that's a little bit more flamboyant. And they end up going too far, and it just becomes generic once again. So the best thing I would say when you're writing your emails is keep the emails short and simple. Just don't try and go over the top and try and say something really creative that has never been said before. Keep it short, keep it simple, one personalized line and one clear offer. Something like, hi John, I seen your dealership won the award for best dealership in X country. We build AI agents that are able to answer all of your inbound inquiries. Would this sound interesting to you? That alone is going to get you more replies than any other email you can think of, in terms of, hey, I seen this X, Y, and Z. We do this. All of these long, bulky emails. Business owners don't have the time to read these emails. So that simple, hi John, one personalized line and one clear offer, that's going to get you a high reply rate. Now, after you start sending these, you'll start to see occurrences, or you'll start to see similarities, and in these similarities is where you start doubling down. So you might send hi John with one personalized line and one clear offer, and you might send a second one that is slightly different or is tweaked a little bit. And when you send these on instantly, you can track which one has the better open rate and which one has the better reply rate, and then you go with that one, and then you tweak that one a little bit, and then you keep going. So you keep tweaking it, and it keeps getting better and better, and over time you have a really strong cold email, which is pulling you in clients again once you're working this at volume. Alright, next up is cold DMs. Now, this is usually done on LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook even. It can even be done on Twitter, depending on where your niche is situated. So wherever they most likely hang around, that's a platform that you should choose to target. Now, the big advantage here is that it's less saturated than cold emails. Most people's inboxes are flooded, but DMs still cut through more easily, especially on LinkedIn, where business conversations are expected. Now, the trade-offs is that it's only partially scalable. With cold email, you can blast out thousands if you want every single day, but with DMs, there still is some limits. LinkedIn only lets you send a certain number of DMs every day, so even if you use an automation platforms like this one over here called HeyReach, which will automatically send the DMs for you, there still is a limit to however many you can send. Now, In my experience, the very best results in these messages or in these cold DMs come from when you personalize or when you handwrite them, which in nature obviously isn't scalable whatsoever. Now that's kind of the predicament you're in with DMs. They work, but you can't send as many as you could with email. And also, like email, DMs can be a little bit of a pay to win game. Tools like HeyReach, if you're using LinkedIn, Sales Navigator, these can get costly. They aren't free, obviously, and you'll often have to pay to unlock the scale that you want. So this is why I have this one as a little bit of a pay to win also. Okay, so now let's talk about content as we can see over here. This is more of a long-term play, but it's one of the most powerful ones that you can make, that you can do for your AI agency. Here's why. With content, instead of you always chasing clients, they start coming towards you. You put out a post, you share what you're building, you document your wins, and people start to resonate with that and they start reaching out to you. A single post that you make on YouTube or LinkedIn can work for you for months in advance after you've actually made that post. Now, on top of that, content builds authority and trust, as we've talked about before, in a way that no cold email or cold message ever could. When people have seen your face, when they've heard your voice, watch what you share, the value that you give over and over, by the time they actually reach out to you, they already feel like they know you, and this makes closing them so much more easier. Now, the trade-off with this is obviously it's a lot slower. You won't see overnight results. It's consistency over time that compounds, but if you stick with it, content can become the biggest inbound channel for you, and it's unlimitedly scalable. Once you start reaching thousands of subscribers or thousands of LinkedIn followers and thousands of impressions on LinkedIn, your clients just compound and compound, and your inbound lead flow just becomes enormous, like game changing for your AI automation agency. That's why when I see people that don't do content, obviously it's not needed. You can still be successful without content, but if you aren't using content, then you are severely missing out. And the last one we have over here is referrals and partnerships, and this is quite straightforward, but it's extremely powerful. The thing about referrals is that they're already won. The trust is already there because it's being transferred from a person who has recommended you or that knows you or has worked with you in the past. That's why referral leads close faster and easier than any other type of lead. They're also low cost as well. You don't really pay for anything. You don't need any fancy software or ad spend to get a referral. One happy client introduce you to 2 or 3 more of their friends, and that snowball can build up really quickly. They're also really low cost. You don't need any fancy software or ad spend to get a referral. One happy customer can introduce you to two or three more of their friends in the industry, and before you know it, that snowball effect just brings in more and more clients. Now, there is a downside to this. Obviously, that's not scalable. You can't run your business on just referrals. Referrals really rely on your network, on existing relationships, so you can't just flip a switch and suddenly get 50 referrals a week. But if you're starting out, this is one of the easiest wins. When you deliver a good result, just ask that client, do you know anybody else that could maybe use this? And like that, they can give you another 2 to 3 clients that are extremely easy and warm to close. It's simple, but it works. Now, while referrals won't carry your whole agency forever, they can definitely give you that strong momentum in the start to get your agency up off the ground and going at a strong pace. So to wrap all of this up, remember the 3 core principles: visibility, trust, and a strong offer. Cold emails are great for visibility at scale. Cold DMs give you fewer but more personal conversations. Content builds authority and brings clients to you over the long term. And referrals give you warm and easy to close leads. Each one of these has obviously their pros and their cons, like we've already spoke about. But the key is they're all different ways of applying the same 3 principles. You don't need to master all 4 of these at once. Pick one of them which suits the stage that you're in currently, focus on it, and then layer in the other ones as you grow. At the end of the day, building automations is the easy part. Getting clients is what makes or breaks your agency. If you nail client acquisition, everything else will fall into place. So don't worry about everything else. Don't worry about being the best development. Don't worry about knowing how to code. All of that will fall into place once you nail client acquisition. Thanks for watching this. If you found this useful, drop a like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments which channel you're going to double down on first. And I'll see you in the next one.